laptop season. This is the Acer Swift Go 16 AI PC. This is actually one of the first Meteor-like laptops that have come into the studio that I'm reviewing. And what I really love about Intel with the new chipsets, they've definitely become, in that even space. Intel has kind of been up and down over the past couple of years, but I can finally say this year they've kind of evened the playing field, which is nice. So performance-wise, this is rocking the Core Ultra 9. It's the 9185H. This model has 16 gigs of RAM. You can spec it up to 32. This also has a terabyte of space. Once again, you can spec that to 2 terabytes. The battery life on this is probably the biggest improvement. You can average around, 10 and a half hours once you've pushed it with, a bit more graphic intensive stuff. Expect around 5 to 6 hours of battery life for gaming or intensive tasks. But I would say the biggest improvement for Intel has to be the integrated graphics with the Arc graphics. Previously, all the integrated stuff on Intel chips, you really couldn't do much. With this, I'm not saying that you can play AAA titles, but I'm a big StarCraft 2 player. I threw back the clock and was rocking a couple games. Was getting some pretty smooth frame rates. Even something like Valorant, once again, was able to play on some decent settings. Since this is the Core Ultra 9, video editing on this, some of my team uses DaVinci Resolve, for example. They were able to edit some social clips. All the stuff that I kind of managed for this video, some of the stuff here on the studio was crunched by this, without any issues, which is really great to see, both as a creator, both as like a business professional. If you're using this, mainly for obviously, browsing the net, for being productive, this crushes that. The big thing or the big sell for this is obviously the display. So this is an OLED panel, obviously 16 inches. It's 16 by 10, 3200 by 2000. It's a 3.2K resolution. It's got 120 hertz refresh rate. And what I really like, it covers 100% of the DCI-P3 color space. So once again, really great if you're looking at a lot of video. The color accuracy is really on point. And I know that you can get some cheaper options for the Swift Go with an LCD panel that, once you compare these two side by side, it's once you go OLED, once you go to this screen, you never want to go back. So to the overall design, I feel like Acer has taken minimalism to the next level. It pretty much has zero branding except for that tiny little Acer brand up top. It is pretty much like a plain slab of aluminum. So you can get this in 2 different colorways. Iron, which is this colorway here, as well as steel gray, which is a bit darker, and it has these nice chamfered edges to give it a bit of contrast, but since it is completely metal, they've still kept it lightweight, so there is a bit of flex, and on the turn of that, when you pick this up, since it is a larger laptop, it's still easy to fit into your backpack, and it won't weigh you down too much. In terms of I/O, we've got the full suite here, USB-A, headphone jack, micro SD card slot, maybe the one thing as a creator I'd love to see a full-size one, and on the other side, we've got USB-C, 2 Thunderbolt 4s, full-size HDMI, and another USB-A slot. So it's got the full I/O that you need. Obviously, you can see some venting around, and on the bottom, we've got some vents for cooling. The bottom firing speakers, but when you open up the laptop, it actually has this really nice hinge. This obviously in turn helps those speakers sound decent and of course to help with cooling. We've got a full-size keyboard. This one has the optional backlit, which is nice. The travel on the keyboard is, minimal. It's a chiclet style to keep things very minimal. The trackpad, which has gotten larger since last year, it's got a glossy feel, so your finger nicely slides through it. And I'm always a fan of a numpad. Even though this one is smaller, I like to be really productive on my stuff. And this is always nice. Obviously that included with the full 16-inch form factor. Obviously we've got the branding, Intel Evo, that has to pass a certain standard. And you can see on the bottom, Swift Go 16 and some of the AI features. Obviously every laptop, every computer nowadays has some AI built in. So this one has AI built into, say, the front-facing camera. You've got a little security switch here, and it is a 1440p camera. Honestly, one of the better webcams that I've seen on a laptop. Great resolution. Obviously, this place is very well lit, and kind of launching it, it looks crisp, and with that AI, it has this noise reduction feature. So right now, I'm actually recording as a little test, so obviously you can hear what I sound like right now. I'm hoping that this sounds half decent, and I will turn the vacuum on. And I'm still talking throughout that vacuum, and theoretically, I should sound pretty decent. So what's happening right now, there's a third microphone going off to help cancel out this sound. I've now stopped vacuuming, and you can kind of hear the difference, which is pretty impressive. Obviously, a lot of that to do with AI. So compared to the rest of the performance, like I said, that big upgrade has to really do with Meteor-like. I'll leave a couple benchmark scores compared to others in the market. You can see it's right along in the same space. It definitely can compete. The reason why you're getting this though is for this beautiful display. So, watching a lot of content, for example, I've been binge watching Shogun. If you haven't watched it, definitely show of the year. The OLED really showcasing a lot of the deep and dark blacks. Also for content, because the screen is so good, so things like color correction, color grading, just editing simple photos over on Lightroom, once again, has been a pleasure on this. And I would say with a lot of other laptops, I find that they've gone overdone or just overcooked the design aspect. You know, a lot of them add crazy RGB lighting, a lot of weird lines. Once again, very, very minimal. It's clean. Even with a 16-inch form factor, it's just around 3.5 pounds, and it does have a 180-degree hinge. And lastly, like I said, the battery life. So obviously that really depends what you're doing and what mode that you're running this in. If you're in a, true performance mode, playing games, going really hard on edits, 4.5, 5 hours. Just watching content, light browsing, you're looking at like 8-ish. And obviously if you just leave it on, maybe that full like 10-hour battery life that, Acer claims. It does have a 100-watt quick charge, obviously via USB-C. And that is pretty much, Meteor-like in a nutshell, and probably one of the biggest upgrades to Intel, which is obviously a good thing in the past couple years. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm actually holding on to this laptop, so I could possibly give this one away. If you want to see that, just make sure you leave a comment. Obviously sub to the channel. Let me know what you would use this. Are you crunching edits? Are you playing StarCraft 2? Let me know. I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next vids. Peace.